talk about the Magi. We don't hear a lot about them besides they're the first to show up to meet Jesus. The Gentiles were the first to show up to meet Jesus. Most people think that they're just astrologers who followed a star, and that's really not it. I mean, that's a key skill of theirs, but they really were dream interpreters to begin with. And some background is they had a religion that was a lot like Judaism. They believed in one God that created everything. They believed in an adversary of evil. In the end, good would conquer evil, and that there would be a redeemer. So, we go back to Daniel, who dealt with these Magi. When he was able to interpret the dream and they couldn't, when he was able to explain a dream and they couldn't, he was put third in charge. He was appointed the head of the Magi. He was in charge of them. And Magi, they're Medes, so they have they're priests, but they have like a government. They're like in charge. I don't know. They have their own government. They just have like authority, like governmental authority. But they're priests, and it's only hereditary. They could only be a Magi by blood. And so Daniel, a Jew, being put in charge is just not okay. So it makes you wonder if that's part of why the whole lion's den thing happened. They're like, this guy shouldn't be, and now he just proved himself more. And so you realize, wow, God really did put him in the position he was in to preach to these Gentiles. You know, if the Old Testament is concealed and the New Testament is revealed, we get to see in the New Testament whenever they were put in a position, like in Acts, when they're put in the prison and all the Roman guards end up finding Jesus, or when Paul is shipwrecked and they go on the island, those people found Jesus. So does that show that the Old Testament, when these people were like Jonah, when he was on the boat and they dealt with this huge storm and then it stopped when they threw him in the water, did they go back home and like, hey, Jonah's God is the true God? And the people at Nineveh recognized that too. So I get excited. I think that maybe the Magi found God, the true God, in this time, because they're the only ones that were excited to meet the Messiah when the Jews themselves weren't. So yeah, I do think that Daniel, he probably shared a lot of his prophecies with them. He shared the Torah with them. They must have like really admired him, and they held on to his prophecies, and they must have known about Micah when it says that the Messiah would be born in Bethlehem of Judea, because there's two Bethlehems. And when he taught them, you know, they probably were studying it for like 500 years, passing it down generation to generation, that when the star appeared, they're like, oh, the Messiah's here. And so they probably went to Jerusalem. Did the star take them there? Because they knew he was going to be in Bethlehem, right? And so when they get to Jerusalem, it says that after the king and all of Jerusalem heard that he was born, they were troubled. I can't imagine being troubled because a baby was born. So I wonder if it's because now the Parthians and the Romans, they were in conflict with each other. They both wanted to dominate Asia, and neither of them ever won. So the Magi was from the Parthian Empire and going into Roman territory, which is Jerusalem. They would have had that, because there's a lot of them, so there's probably a caravan of them, the Magi, and they would have had a bunch of soldiers with them, a cavalry, and that would have freaked the people out. Like, why is the Parthians coming in? Oh no. And so that probably troubled them. And then Herod, of course, you know, this innocent little newborn baby is a threat to him. Anyone who's a threat to him, he would kill. like his wife and his mother-in-law and his children. He just anyone, so he had to kill all the babies. Evil man. And now, because you'd think, I mean, if all Jerusalem knew that the Messiah is born, why wouldn't it be excited? Anyways, so then when they went, and then Herod told them secretly, like, go to Bethlehem. He didn't want the people to know, I guess. I'm not sure how that worked out. So they go to Bethlehem, and I don't think Joseph was even there. And he must have been like 6 to 18 months old. So these nativity scenes are just a whole bunch of confusion. People need to stop using their eyes and use their ears instead of, you know, you look at a picture, oh, that's how it was. I don't think so. So I don't think Joseph was there because it just mentions Mary with the child. And if he was there, they probably would have mistaken him as the biological father, which he wasn't. So I don't know, I just think it's the Gentiles came and worshipped him. And the Jews didn't even care. So, some interesting things though, is when it comes to the zodiac, that actually comes from, I think in Hebrew the word is the way, like axe, right? And then it actually, they've been corrupted clearly, but it's supposed to be about the constellations, which I believe Adam probably, you know, God probably showed Adam, and Adam probably taught all of his descendants, because if you look at it, all cultures around the world all have the same thing and the same names when it comes to the zodiac, the constellations. So if you take like the Virgo, which is always a woman with a branch in one hand and wheat in the other, and then the brightest star is the name of what the Hebrew uses for the Messiah. And he's a branch of David. It's just all fascinating. I mean, if you take the trouble to actually look into it, how, you know, the brightest star to the lightest, I wonder if that's a star that lit up or something that the Magi followed. Was it even a star? Because if they followed it and it went above the kid's head, then it must have been something more than a star. So yes, all the constellations have go with the 12 tribes of Israel. And they would go through from the legends, go is the name of the stars in order of brightness. So it's, yeah, if you were to take the trouble, you'd see the entire redemption story and all of it. And that's what I believe is the Magi. They believe the Messiah was, you know, this is our Redeemer. And the Jews have been waiting and looking for him and couldn't even recognize him. Maybe they didn't like the idea of Gentiles telling them, but sometimes we will be fed by an unclean vessel. Elijah was, okay honey, you want to turn it on? Elijah was fed by ravens, that's an unclean bird. So we just have to accept the fact that sometimes an unbeliever might be more righteous or trust in God or have a word for us more than someone godly, unfortunately. I think that's exciting. The Magi must have known God, and he used Daniel. So, not like, I mean, Daniel, he was a man of God. I guess all that work he did, you know, praying every day, benefited him. He got to reach others and generations. It's exciting.